Hello, good morning. You are now in a beginning of the 30-minute meditation. It will be audio only, no music in the background. So it will be a guided 30 minutes meditation. We're going to wait for a couple of people to check in. So in the meantime, I invite you to just either find a nice comfortable spot to sit down, or maybe you want to lay down, and preferably put some earphones or earplugs in, because it will be audio only. So it's prefer to have that at least as close to your ear as possible, and that you don't have to hold your phone. So yeah, let's wait for a couple of people to tune in, and then we can all collaboratively start wherever we are. So it will be a 30 minutes, roughly, say 25 minutes of a guided meditation. And you can decide yourself if you want to sit down and or lay down. Actually, it's also possible to do this standing. For those who have practiced that before, we do it here in the morning practice. We have a moment of standing, which we can also be translated into a meditation. So for now, maybe if you're sitting, you can just find yourself a comfortable position. I like to have my hips a bit elevated, just slightly, so I can really put my legs very relaxedly together. And again, make sure to put something in your ear so you can hear me better as we are taking you through this guided meditation. And we're just going to wait for a couple of people to join in. And in the meantime, for those who are already getting ready, try to already just observe your breathing. All right. So let go of any idea of the meditation. Let go of any form, let go of any previous concepts, and let go of any of the practices or rules that you think that apply towards meditation. We're just going to observe. You can decide to observe either just by sitting and having your eyes closed, but if you want, you can also remain them open. And when they're open, I invite you to just gaze a bit down, like you're following the line of your nose, and you find some kind of point 1.5 to 2 meters in front of yourself where you're gazing at. So we first try to observe our breathing. And with observation, I mean not controlling it. So we're really observing how it is and how it comes. So maybe you notice that your inhalation is beautifully arriving in the belly. And you feel that the belly is expanding. And on the exhalation that it is relaxing again. Or maybe you still feel that the breath is very much in the chest. And your chest is expanding when you inhale and lowering down when you exhale. Try to bring it to the former. So try to really activate your abdominal wall. Just actively for this moment. And then let it go again. So we inhale. And feel how the inhalation goes into the belly. Good. When we arrive there, we go observe it again. when I'm observing my breathing, I try to visualize it also. And it's not my visualization that is leading and the breath that is following it, but it's the other way around. So as I'm observing my breathing, becoming aware of how the inhalation is arriving in the belly, and how the exhalation is leaving the body, I try to make a mental picture of that. So I'm visualizing what's happening by just observing the breath. So I'm almost like inspired by my breathing. And this is an observation of non-judgment. So even though I might feel that my breath is very high, or I might feel that my breathing rhythm is relatively high, I don't judge it, I just observe it, and I accept it for how it is, because I have all the trust that in these next 20 somewhat minutes, things will naturally start to change. It doesn't require my efforts, it only requires my awareness. Good, and as we're observing the breathing, try to observe if there's other signals in the body that we can become aware of. Maybe you can become aware of how with the inhalation you notice that the heartbeat picks up slightly. And with your exhalation, that the heartbeat slows down slightly. Maybe we can become aware of how with the inhalation my belly and rib cage are expanding in all directions, forward, sideways. And with the exhalation, somehow my spine is lengthening. Maybe I can become aware of how my shoulders are maybe a bit up, and how can I allow them to just slow and lower down. Maybe I can be aware of that my chin is falling forwards, and that I can just tuck it a little bit in, allowing it to be in line with my spine. Maybe I can become aware of that my jaw is holding quite some tension, and I can loosen my jaw to let go of that tension. Now observe your breath again and see where it is now. And we try to go to the point of emptiness. We try to find that moment of stillness where the separation of our physical self and the still environment almost doesn't exist. Physically, we find that moment after our exhalation. So we breathe life force in, we allow it to feed all our 7 energy centers. We breathe out, and then there is a tiny little pause of stillness in which we're waiting for the inhalation to arrive again. Search for that moment. And find joy in that ultimate moment of peace. So as the inhalation comes, it feeds our 7 energy centers. Maybe we can pick up a gentle smile. We breathe out, and then we wait. So we inhale, we exhale, and we wait. And find your pattern and really focus on that moment of stillness. Now, in that physical moment of stillness, where the body is just waiting, we're going to try to bring our mind also in line with that stillness. So now just imagine that with each inhalation, we're taking in the thoughts that are waiting around us. Because there are thoughts. They're waiting to enter out of habit. Thoughts of the day, thoughts of our calendar, thoughts of the worries, thoughts of needing to check something, don't forget this. Inhale these thoughts, welcome them in, and try to then also exhale them, pushing them just a bit further. So try to visualize that these thoughts, they are already present. We invite them in. And then we breathe them out just a bit further away. welcoming them later back again. And in that tiny moment of pause, try to clear the space. As the thoughts arrive and we breathe them out, we try to enjoy the empty state that we find ourselves in when we have breathed these thoughts away. Observe again your physical awareness. Observe how your body has become already very still. How the breath is flowing through the body. And how maybe we are creating this empty space also in the mind. Now we tune in on the heart. Which is a vessel for giving and receiving. We can give so much and so noticeable, so deeply and intensely. And that's why it also can be hurt. And we can receive so much, so noticeable, so intensely. And that's why we can be healed. And our heart is the capacity of our own emotions, our own feelings, but also the capacity to notice and tune in with those emotions and feelings of others. Others close by, others far away, others here with us right now, or others of the past. Our heart has a space for all these feelings. So let's breathe into the heart. Feeding it with our breath. Feeding it with our intention. Allowing for its vessels to open not only for ourselves, but also for others. And as we have aligned our awareness of our body through the breath, to our heartbeat, through our physical sensations of our spine, our jaw, our touch points. We notice the emptiness that we receive after each exhalation. And in that emptiness, we are visualizing how we're inhaling certain thoughts and breathing them away again, creating an open space and that through that open space our heart is shining through like a beautiful vessel capable of giving and receiving. And in order to give to someone else, you first got to be able to give. How can I give a flower if I don't allow it to grow? How can I give my energy if I don't have it myself? So allow for the next breathings to really tap into the unlimited potential of your self-love, of your courage, of your energy, of your compassion, and trust that even though from the outer world we can be challenged, that doesn't mean that the inner world can't produce. So charge through your heart this capacity, these qualities, awaken them in yourself, not as something that you are taking, but as something that you are remembering. It is already there. And with each inhalation, I will allow those qualities to metaphorically install in your body. So feel perhaps that with the lengthening of your spine, you're installing the quality of love. And feel it with the expansion of the belly. You're installing your qualities of courage. And feel that with the relaxation of your jaw, you're leaning into the path of compassion. So we really make our body a vehicle of all our qualities that are already there. And because we have an empty mind, we can visualize them and give them a place, just for now. Return to the observation of your breathing. And become aware maybe how it's slowed down. How the inhalation needs to be less deep, less intense. How the exhalation is just a letting go. And how the pause is slightly longer. So we observe a soft inhalation, a soft, almost unnoticeable exhalation, with a very smooth transitioning into an emptiness, into a pause. And we have charged that pause with courage, with love, with compassion. Because we know that in order to give, we first have to give to ourselves. And finally, we are detaching from that self. We are detaching from that sense of self and tuning in to the greater self. The greater self that lives in each and every one of us. And we remind ourselves that I am you. And when I say you, that is you, other human being. That is you, animal. That is you, plant, mountain, air, star. I try to recognize the larger self in everything around me. And in a way, I'm detaching from continuous experiential layer of me, and I find peace in the shared oneness of us. And with this final alignment of the layer of our soul, we allow ourselves to open the eyes again, welcoming the world, observing again our breathing, create a gentle smile. And you can thank yourself for taking this time of self-remembering, taking this time to briefly sit or lay with yourself, because from here you can give and from here you can receive. I thank you again very much, and I wish you a lovely day.